Hi, I'm Zach, and this is Challenger Vedic Astrology and Tarot. Welcome to the channel. If you'd like to get either a Vedic Astrology or a Tarot reading with me, you can do so at my website. It'll be linked down in the description box below, and it's right here at the bottom of the video. And if you like my videos, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out me and the channel. Okay, so this is going to be an all signs transit overview for mid-July to mid-August. So let me go over some of the dates that these things are going to be happening. So first off, we have Sun moving into Cancer. That's going to be July 16th through August 17th. And there's going to be a new moon in Cancer on July 17th. Now, Mars is going to be moving into, well, it's still in Leo until August 18th. And Mars and Mercury are going to be conjunct and from July 24th to August 18th. And then there's going to be a Venus retrograde, which I'll be making a separate video for. Okay, so that's what all we have going on. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's kick things off here with Aries. Alright, Aries, so let's talk about Sun moving into Cancer. So Sun is your focus, and it's going to be moving into Cancer, which is your 4th house. So your focus is going to turn towards the home, the mother, vehicles, your comfort, and your happiness. Also, there's going to be a new moon there on July 17th. So expect something pretty significant to happen with either your mother, your home, or your vehicle. Hopefully this will be for the good, but that depends on each individual chart. Now, we have Mars in Leo up until August 18th. So, Mars is in your 5th house. Mars is your energy and drive. So 5th house represents children. It represents fun and games. It's creativity, education. So these are areas where you're going to be, putting your energy. But Mars is going to be conjunct Mercury from July 24th to August 18th. So this is going to cause conflicts, arguments. Mars is an enemy to Mercury, or Mars views Mercury as its enemy. So whenever they're conjunct, you will see arguments. So, if you have children, you'll argue with your children. If you have students, you will argue with them. Also, 5th house is spouse's elder sibling. And friends. So, these are the people that you can get into arguments with. Now, Mars has a 4th aspect of conquest on the 8th house. So, 8th house is in-laws. It's joint finances. So you could be a little domineering with your in-laws, and when it comes to joint finances in the marriage. Also, 8th house is sex. Mars is in the 5th house of romance, and, wanting to conquer the house of sex. So, you could definitely be, either more sexual or sexually frustrated, depending on your chart. Now, Mars also has a 7th aspect of confrontation on the 11th house. So, 11th house is elder siblings. It's friends, large organizations. So you can also get into confrontations with these people. And then Mars has an 8th aspect on your 12th house. 8th aspect is sudden ups and downs and transformation. So it could be a sudden transformation of your spiritual beliefs. There could be sudden travels or sudden losses. So be aware, these are some things that can happen this month. Alright, that's what I have for you, Aries. Alright, so Taurus. Let's see what's coming up for y'all. So, Sun's moved into Cancer, your third house. So Sun is your focus, and it's now in the third house. Third house is younger siblings. It's your neighbors, your cousins. It's communication of all forms, including writing. It's media, the internet. It's your skills. It's short distance travel. So this is where your focus is now. And while it's here, there's going to be a new moon on July 17th. And that's when a significant event tied to the themes of the third house will take place. So be aware of that. Now let's talk about Mars. Mars is going to be in Leo, your fourth house. Mars is your energy and drive. Now, Leo represents your mother, homes, vehicles. It's also your comfort and your happiness. Now, it's also going to be conjunct Mercury. Mars views Mercury as its enemy. Whenever Mars and Mercury are conjunct, you will notice arguments. So, you will get into fights in your home and with your mother. And if you're trying to get a vehicle, you'll get into arguments. You could even get into arguments with the vehicle salesman, car dealer. Like, that's pretty likely with Mars, Mercury conjunct in your fourth house. Also, Mars, Venus will still be conjunct. For you in particular, I'm mentioning this because you gotta be careful. There can be car accidents. There can be car issues. Just wanted to point that out for your ascendant in particular. Now, so your energy and drive will go towards your mother, towards your home, towards your vehicles. So you could be moving during this transit. You could be getting a new car. And if not, you could be fixing your car, renovating your home, that kind of thing. Now, Mars is going to have a fourth aspect of conquest on the seventh house. So you can be overbearing in your business partnerships and in your relationships. This is the aspect of conquest. Also, seventh house is home away from home. So once again, this can show moving if you're in, a planetary time period that shows that. But it's based on everybody's individual chart. Now, the seventh aspect is falling on the 10th house. So this is the confrontational aspect. And 10th house represents managers, bosses. It's your workplace, so this can include your coworkers. Also, it's government. So there can be confrontations with all of these people. And yes, including the government. You could, have some issue with a government official or something like that. So be aware, those are some things that can happen. Now, there will also be an eighth aspect on the 11th house. So eighth aspect of Mars is sun ups and downs and transformation. So you can experience these sun ups and downs and transformation with your elder siblings, with your friends, within large organizations. But there can also be sudden gains here. 11th house is house of gains. It's hopes, wishes, desires. So, these things can, suddenly happen or be transformed. So those are some things that you'll notice with, the transits this month. All right, that's what I have for you, Taurus. All right, Gemini. So, first off, Sun has moved into Cancer. So, Sun is your focus, and it's in the second house. Second house is your family, your savings, your earnings. It's your speech. So this is your focus now. It's also your face, your teeth. Maybe you have to see the dentist. I don't know. Now, there's going to be a new moon on July 17th. So, on the 17th of July, expect a significant event tied to your family or your finances in particular. Or, that dentist appointment. Now let's talk about Mars and Leo. So Mars is in Leo still. Leo is your third house. And third house is your friends. It's your younger siblings, your cousins, your neighbors. It's your skills. It's your effort. Short distance travel. It's communication of all forms, including writing. It's media, the internet. So this is where your energy and drive is going. Now, Mars is conjunct Mercury. And Mars views Mercury as its enemy. Sorry, Marigashira is running it. It makes people really thirsty. Little secret about the constellations. It's tied to drinking the elixir of life. Okay. So, Mars-Mercury conjunction shows arguments. So, you're going to argue with your younger sibling, with your cousins, with your neighbors. You could get into arguments with people online. Because it's a house of communication in general, you could argue with a lot of people. So, be aware. Try to keep your temper in check. Now, Mars has a fourth aspect on your sixth house. So sixth house is, well, first off, the fourth aspect of Mars is aspect of conquest. So sixth house is your health, it's debt, it's work, it's pets, it's your everyday routine, it's competition. So these are the areas of life that you'll want to conquer. It's also your enemies, if I didn't mention that. And maternal aunts and uncles. So you can be a little overbearing with these people. Now with enemies, it's not so bad. But with your maternal aunts and uncles, with coworkers, with your pets, you may not want to be too domineering with them. Now, seventh aspect of Mars is the confrontational aspect, and it's going to fall in your ninth house. So ninth house is teachers, gurus, father. It's religion, law. So these are the kinds of people that you could get into arguments with. On top of getting into arguments with everybody in the third house. So be aware there can be confrontations there. Now, there's going to be an eighth aspect on the 10th house. So 10th house is your work environment. It's your karmic actions that the world notices. It's government, it's your managers, your bosses. So, eighth aspect of Mars brings sudden ups and downs and transformation. So expect some changes to happen at work. That's the thing that you'll typically notice with this. Alright, that's what I have for you, Gemini. So, Cancer. Sun has just moved into your Ascendant, or your moon sign. So, Sun's your focus. So now your focus is on you. It's on you, your overall path in life. It's on your body, your health. Now, there's going to be a new moon here on July 17th. So that's when you can experience something significantly changing, either in your health or in your body. There will be some kind of significant event. This can be good or bad, depending on your individual chart. But just expect something pretty significant on July 17th. Now, let's talk about Mars in Leo. So, Leo is your second house. And second house is your family, your earnings, your savings. Now, Mars is conjunct Mercury here. And Mercury is Mars's enemy. So whenever Mars and Mercury are conjunct, you will see arguments. Because it's in the second house, arguments will be related to finances or they'll be with your family. or both. So, you have that to look forward to. Also, Mars in the second house. Mars is energy and drive, your energy and drive. And in the second house of finances, you'll notice you spend out a lot of money, but also make more money. So, that's something you'll notice. So if you want to rein that in, make a conscious effort. Now, Mars has a fourth aspect of conquest on the fifth house. Fifth house is children, romance, fun and games. It's your education. It's creativity. So these are areas of life where you will be overbearing. Fifth house is also your students. If you're, a teacher or, people under you at work, that too. So be aware that you'll be overbearing, especially if you have children. Now, the seventh aspect of confrontation is on the eighth house. Eighth house is your in-laws. That's the main people it represents. So, be aware that you can get into conflicts with your in-laws if you're married, and if you're not married, then this is, the family of your partner. So if you're in a relationship, it's your partner's family. So, be careful, or there'll be, conflicts with them. Now, the eighth aspect of sudden ups and downs and transformation is on your ninth house. So ninth house is your father, teachers, mentors. It's religion, philosophy, law, higher education, long distance travel. So there can be sudden events tied to those areas of life. Alright, that's what I have for you, Cancer. Leo. Alright, Leo. So, for you, Sun has moved into Cancer, your 12th house. Sun's your focus. So 12th house is spirituality. It's isolation, jails, hospitals, asylums. It's foreign lands, foreign people. It's also losses. So, that's where your focus will be. And there's going to be a new moon there on July 17th. So expect something significant to happen tied to the themes of the 12th house that I just went over. So you could lose a significant amount of money on the 17th. You could take a trip to a far off place on the 17th. You could have some kind of spiritual event take place on the 17th. Or start some new spiritual practice, that kind of thing. And 12th house is also bed pleasure, so sex, sleep. Okay. Now let's talk about Mars and Leo. So, Leo is your first house. Mars is your energy and drive. Now, Mars is with Mercury, and Mars views Mercury as its enemy. Now, Mars and Mercury causes arguments. Now, in the first house, I doubt you're going to be arguing with yourself. Hopefully you don't have a bunch of different personalities in there. But you can probably be pretty argumentative with other people, is what I would say about this. So, watch out for that. Try to control your temper. Also, Mars in the first house energizes you. Mars is the warrior. So, everybody, when Mars moves into the first house, they feel like they're a warrior. Like they can conquer anything. Your body's energized now. But Mars can also show injuries and health issues and stuff. Especially being in the first house of body. So be aware of that. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. Mars has a fourth aspect on the fourth house. So, fourth aspect is the aspect of conquest for Mars. And fourth house is tied to the mother, home, vehicles, and comfort and happiness. So, Mars is showing that you're going to want to conquer these areas of life. You can be overbearing with your mother and with people in your home during this time. But you could also want to make changes to your home or, get a new home. Same thing with your vehicle. But try not to be too overbearing with it. Now, the confrontational aspect of Mars is going to be on the 7th house. So 7th house is relationships. It's your business partner. It's also your opponents. Because your opponent is who directly faces you. It's the masses. So 7th house can really be anybody you come across. But 7th aspect of Mars is confrontational. So be aware you can get into arguments with people and confrontations. Especially in relationships and in business. Alright. So now the 8th aspect of Mars is on your 8th house. Now 8th aspect is sun ups and downs and transformation. So there will be sun ups and downs and transformation when it comes to the 8th house. 8th house is your in-laws or your partner's family. It's also joint finances in relationships or in business. So there can be sun ups and downs in your finances, in your savings. Also, 8th house is research. It's the occult. So yeah, there could be, sudden breakthroughs in your research. Or maybe, transformation of your research to like a different area. There can be, sudden transformative events tied to well, 8th house is sun ups and downs itself. So definitely there can be sudden events. 8th house is also surgery. So there could be a sudden surgery. Now, if you know you don't need a surgery, don't fret over this. It depends on each person's individual chart. Alright, so that's what I have for you, Leo. Let's go on to Virgo. Alright, Virgo. So, for you, Sun has moved into Cancer, your 11th house. So Sun is your focus. 11th house is your elder sibling. It's your friends. It's large network circles. It's your hopes, wishes, desires. It's house of gains. It's the stock market. So this is where your focus is turned. And on July 17th, there will be a new moon happening here. So a new moon shows significant event will take place tied to the themes of the 11th house. So that's what you can expect with that transit. Now, let's talk about Mars and Leo. Okay, so Leo is your 12th house. Now, Mars is your energy and drive, and it's now in the 12th house. So 12th house is tied to losses. It's foreign lands, foreign people. It's spirituality. It's isolation, jails, hospitals, asylums. It's also bed pleasure, so sex and sleep. So when Mars is in the 12th house, one thing that you'll notice, Mars being your energy and drive and in the house of loss, you will feel a loss of energy. Except in one particular area, and that's sex. You will be more sexual than usual. You'll have a higher libido. Now, Mars is conjunct Mercury though. And Mars views Mercury as its enemy. Whenever Mars and Mercury are conjunct, you will notice arguments. So, you will have arguments with foreign people. Or people that work at jails, hospitals, or asylums. Also, you can have arguments with spiritual people during this time. Now, Mars being your energy and drive in the 12th house, you could put more energy into spiritual practices. You could travel to a far off place. Also, Mars here will cause trouble sleeping. So, You'll have to deal with that for a bit. But alright, that's what I have for you, Virgo. Libra. Let's talk about you. So, Sun has moved into Cancer, your 10th house. And Sun is your focus. So, 10th house is your working environment. It's your career. It's your bosses, your managers. It's government. It's status. So, it's also your karmic actions that the world notices. So your focus has turned here. And there's going to be a new moon there on July 17th. So expect a significant event tied to your workplace or your career on the 17th of July. Now let's talk about Mars and Leo. So Mars is your energy and drive, and it's in the 11th house. 11th house is elder sibling, it's your friends, it's large organizations. It's also your hopes, your wishes, your desires, it's gains. I think I repeated myself, but oh well. It's also the stock market. So this is where your energy and drive is going. Now, Mars and Mercury conjunction. Mars views Mercury as an enemy. And when Mars and Mercury are conjunct, you will notice arguments. So be prepared for arguments with your elder sibling, with your friends, or with large organizations. Now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars has a 4th aspect on your 2nd house. 4th aspect is conquest, and it's falling on the 2nd house of earnings, on family. So you're going to be overbearing with your family, but Mars in the 11th house is very good for financial gain. It's in the 11th house of gains, and it's aspecting the 2nd house of earnings. So definitely expect, more financial gain during this transit. That's really good for you, actually. Now, 7th aspect is going to be on the 5th house. 7th aspect is the confrontational aspect of Mars. So 5th house is children. It's education. It's also students. So if you have children or students, you could get into conflicts with them. Education. So anybody, if you're going to school, you could get into conflicts with your fellow students. Now the 8th aspect of sun, ups and downs, and transformation is going to be on your 6th house. So there could be a sudden change in your health, sudden change in your debt, with your pets, with your enemies, coworkers. There could be a sudden transformation of your everyday routine, because 6th house represents that. Also, 6th house is your work, so there can be a sudden transformation in your work, if I didn't mention that. Alright, that's what I have for you, Libra. Now, Scorpio. Alright, Scorpio. So for you, Sun has moved into your 9th house in Cancer. So Sun's your focus, and 9th house is your father. It's your mentors, teachers, guides. It's your higher education, long distance travel. It's religion, the law, it's philosophy. So this is where your focus is now. And there's going to be a new moon here on July 17th. Now, expect a major event, fairly significant, on July 17th when it comes to the themes of this 9th house. Now let's talk about Mars and Leo. So Mars has been energizing your house of career, your house of the workplace. Mars is your energy and drive. But Mars is going to be conjunct Mercury. And Mars views Mercury as an enemy. So Mars and Mercury conjunct causes conflicts. It's in your 10th house of the workplace. Managers, bosses, coworkers. So you could get into arguments with all these people. 10th house is also the government. So you could get into arguments with people in the government. So be very careful. Try to keep your temper in check here. But your energy and drive will definitely, be towards work. And towards your status. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars is a 4th aspect of conquest on the 1st house. 1st house is you and your physical body. So you might be trying to get into shape during this transit of Mars. Putting more focus on your health. Now the 7th aspect of Mars is the confrontational aspect. It's going to be on the 4th house. So you could get into conflicts with people in your home and with your mother. Now the 8th aspect of sun ups and downs and transformation is on your 5th house. 5th house is children, students, romance, fun and games. It's creativity, education. It's also change of job. So, be aware that there can be sudden change in your career. There can be sudden changes in your education, with your children, with your students. Just all these areas of life that I mentioned. Alright, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Alright, Sagittarius. So Sun has moved into Cancer, your 8th house. Sun is your focus. And 8th house represents the occult. It's research. It's anything hidden. It's sun ups and downs. It's your in-laws. It's joint finances in relationships and in business. And if you're not married, it's the family of your partner. Okay, so this is where your focus is. Now, July 17th, there will be a new moon here. So expect some significant event tied to the themes of this house on that day. Now, Mars is in Leo in your 9th house. Mars is your energy and drive. And Mars is conjunct Mercury. Now, Mars views Mercury as its enemy. So there are arguments when Mars and Mercury are conjunct. So you get into arguments with your father, with father figures, with your teachers, mentors, guides. You're going to put energy into dealing with these people. Also, 9th house is your higher education. It's long distance travel. It's religion, philosophy. It's the law. So this is where your energy will be going during this transit. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars has a 4th aspect of conquest on the 12th house. 12th house is spirituality. It's losses. It's isolation. It's bed pleasure, so sex and sleep. It's foreign people and foreign travel, foreign places. So these are the areas where you can be overbearing in life. You could be, more sexual than usual. Also, you can be overbearing with foreign people. So watch out for that. Now, Mars has a 7th aspect of confrontation on the 3rd house. So 3rd house is your friends. It's your younger sibling, your neighbors, your cousins. It's also the internet. So you can get into confrontations with, people on the internet or with any of those people that I mentioned. Now, it'll also have an 8th aspect of sun ups and downs and transformation on your 4th house. So 4th house is mother. It's your home. It's vehicles. So expect sudden changes in those areas of life. And with your mother potentially. Alright, that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. Alrighty. So, let's look at Capricorn. Alright, Capricorn. So, Sun, your focus, has moved into the 7th house in Cancer. 7th house is relationships, business. It's the masses. It's all the people that you come across. It's your opponents. It's also your business partner. So, this is where your focus is now. And on July 17th, there will be a new moon taking place there. So expect some kind of significant event tied to the themes of that house and the people it represents. Now let's talk about Mars in your 8th house. So Mars is your energy and drive, and it's in the 8th house. Now, Mars is conjunct Mercury, and Mars views Mercury as its enemy. So, what you'll notice here is arguments. Or are arguments. So, 8th house is your in-laws. It's joint finances. It's married life. So, you could get into arguments with your partner, with your partner's family. Also, you can get into arguments over finances. Now, Mars being your energy and drive in the 8th house. 8th house is a house of sex. So, you're going to have a higher libido than usual. Also, 8th house is the occult. It's research. So you could be, diving deeper into that. Sun ups and downs and transformation. So that's being energized for you right now. It's also surgery. So if you need a surgery, now is the time when you could get it. Alright, now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars has a 4th aspect of conquest on the 11th house. 11th house is hopes, wishes, gains, desires. It's your elder siblings, your friends, large organizations. So these are the areas of life you'll want to conquer. You can be a little overbearing with the people this house represents too. Now let's talk about the 7th aspect of confrontation. It's falling on the 2nd house. So 2nd house is your family. So you can definitely get into arguments with your family as well. So arguments with your in-laws and your family before marriage. Sounds great. Alright. Sorry for you, Capricorn. Alright. 8th aspect is going to be on the 3rd house. So 8th aspect is sun ups and downs and transformation. 3rd house is your friends. It's your younger siblings, your cousins, your neighbors. It's media, the internet. It's your skills. It's communication of all kinds, including writing. It's also short distance travel. So expect sudden events tied to those areas of life. Alright, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Aquarius, let's talk about your stuff. Or about you. Alright. So, Sun, your focus, is now in the 6th house. In Cancer. Okay. So, 6th house is your maternal aunts and uncles. It's your pets. It's your enemies. Your coworkers. It's debt. It's health issues. It's your work, your everyday routines. It's also your health issues. So this is where your focus is. Now, July 17th, there will be a new moon here. So expect some kind of significant event tied to the themes of this house and with the people this house represents on the 17th. Now let's talk about Mars in your 7th house. This is going to be a bit of a doozy for you. And the reason that is because Mars is conjunct Mercury. And for a little bit it'll be with Venus there. So, Mars views Mercury as its enemy. Whenever they're conjunct, you will notice arguments. So, if you have a business partner, or if you're in a relationship, you're going to get into arguments. Sorry. Also, 7th house is your opponents, and it's basically anybody you meet. So, arguments are pretty likely with basically anybody for you during this transit. So, watch your temper. Best of luck. While I'm talking about that, let's go ahead and talk about the 7th aspect, because that's the confrontational aspect. And that's falling on the 1st house. So, other people are going to want to argue with you. Sorry, Aquarius. It's a little funny, though. Alright, so let's talk about the 4th aspect of Mars. The aspect of conquest is falling on the 10th house. Now, the 7th house is also the higher form of status, because it's 10th from the 10th house. So this is actually a very good time career-wise, because you're going to want to conquer the career. But one thing you got to be careful with is 10th house is also your work environment. It's your managers, your bosses, your coworkers. So you can be a little overbearing with these people. But it can be a good time for increasing your status in your workplace. Now the 8th aspect of Mars, of sun ups and downs and transformation, is going to be on your 2nd house of family and earnings and your savings. So there can be sudden changes here. So these can be good or bad depending on your own individual chart. So there can be sudden ups and downs with your family or with your finances. So be aware of that. Alright, last but not least, Pisces. Finally got there. Mrigashira has been running and my throat has been getting so dry. I constantly need to drink throughout this video. Alright. Getting through it. Alright. So, Sun, your focus, has moved into the 5th house, in the sign of Cancer. So, your focus is now on the 5th house. And 5th house is children, it's students, it's romance, fun and games, creativity, it's education. Also, 5th house is sudden changes in your career. So this can be a change of job. So this is where your focus is now. And on July 17th, there will be a new moon here. So expect some significant event tied to your 5th house and the people and themes I've just mentioned. Now let's talk about Mars. So Mars is in Leo, your 6th house. And it's conjunct Mercury. So Mars views Mercury as its enemy. Whenever they're conjunct, you will notice arguments. Now, 6th house represents your maternal aunts and uncles. It's your coworkers. It's your pets. It's your enemies. So, you can get into conflicts, arguments with all these people, and, hopefully not your pets. Take it easy on them. They deal with enough bullshit. Also, Mars being your energy and drive and in your 6th house, be careful, there can be accidents. 6th house is a house of accidents. It's a house of health issues. So you can be putting more energy into your health. It's also your work, your everyday routines. It's debt. So, you don't want your debt being energized. So these are the areas of life where, things will be energized. You'll be putting more energy into your work, more energy into your health, but you'll also be arguing with all those people I mentioned. Now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. Mars has a 4th aspect on the 9th house of Scorpio. So, 9th house is, well, first off, 4th aspect is the aspect of conquest. So 9th house is your father, your mentors, your teachers, your guides. It's a house of higher education, long distance travel. It's religion, philosophy. It's the law. So these are the areas of life where you will be overbearing. You'll be wanting to conquer these areas of life. Now, the 7th aspect of confrontation is going to be on the 12th house. So 12th house represents hospitals, jails, asylums. So you could get into conflicts with, anybody there. So if you're dealing with health issues, yeah, you might argue with the nurses or the doctors. Hopefully not, take it easy on them. They have a hard job. 12th house is also foreign people. So you could get into arguments with foreigners too. Now, 8th aspect of sudden ups and downs of transformation is falling on the 1st house. 1st house is you and your body. So there can definitely be changes in your health. Hopefully this is for the better, but that depends on each person's individual chart. Alright, we're done. That's what I have for y'all. And if you like my videos, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all in the next one.